Senator Nielsen.
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, as I contemplated this day, it was my intent to try to do something different because I knew there were a lot of members retiring and I wanted to speak to everyone. And I knew that might prolong the occasion, so I had the idea that I might speak a little longer to my esteemed colleague, Senator Leno, but then just have one word for all of the others. Then I found that was going to be a little bit too difficult, so I tried to condense it to maybe but one sentence, which I'll try to somewhat accomplish now. In the history of this state, and this is validated by Alex Vassar, kind of a self-appointed but truly the historian of the Senate, 1,160 men and women have ever served in the state Senate, in the capitals of Benicia, Vallejo, Monterey, and Sacramento. So you are all in a very select group of people, very special, each of you. And the 9 of you who are now going on to other opportunities, and one I'll speak of later, this in the highest of all opportunities, you're very special people. Senator Block, Marty, you come to me as a true gentleman who has excelled in many arenas, as a lawyer, as an educator, certainly as a teacher and a professor and an expert in higher education. And you blaze some new territory, sir. No one in history has ever brought a college degree, 4-year degree, to the community colleges. And I congratulate you. And it's very necessary. And you've made your mark on a whole new level of master plan for higher education in California. And I thank you for that, Marty. Isidore, the word that came to mind for you was standout. Now you can look at that as meaning outstanding and the things that you have done in your life and your career, outstanding. And there's much yet ahead for you, sir. You've been outstanding here. You've been outstanding in Compton, and now you're going to take on Washington, D.C. And I'm sure, sir, you're going to be outstanding there. And Isidore, it's been my pleasure and honor to serve with you, sir. Thank you for what you've done for California, and you will continue to do that. Lonnie Hancock, you know, we have a little bit of a thing in common with your husband. I had the pleasure of serving with him. And he was an athlete at Cal, a darn good one. I'd like to think I was a pretty good one at Fresno State. We never got to compete with each other, but we got to serve with each other. And what an honor then that I got to serve with you. And that we had a common interest in a couple of areas that are very important. Criminal justice, you and I from kind of different perspectives, but we ended up agreeing on some very important matters related to the realignment and the changes in California of late, and obviously in higher education, specifically related to the master plan. And what words came to mind when I thought of you, Senator Hancock, was a caring heart, a truly caring heart, a people person who cared about people, a person who wanted to make a difference in the lives of people. Senator Hancock, you have done that. You surely will continue to do that. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to your good and great heart. Senator Pavley, to me, you came to be the green bulldog. The bulldog color, ladies and gentlemen, is red. And so we were the bulldogs. But she became the green bulldog, the champion of cleaning up California, America, and the world. Kind of a small university, but an esteemed one, now recently just rated one of the top 15 in America. And I was a little ahead of Fran there. Gosh, if she'd been around at that time, I might have wanted to try to date her, I think. Well, we would not have gotten into politics, I'm sure. But she was an athlete there at Fresno State, as I was. It was fun when I came back to the legislature and got to know Fran as from Fresno State. And she has just been received from President Castro that Distinguished President's Medal from her university. I got one a few years ago myself, and both she and I will treasure that. Not so much that it's a medal, but that Fran Pavley and I got to give back to our university for all that that university gave to us. It carried her on to be one of the leaders in the environmental movement in the world, all from that education she received at Fresno State University. Yes, you are a landmark and a legend, Fran. It's my honor to know you, to serve with you, and I hope we can continue to be friends. Carol Lou, I got to know your husband as well, working in education matters way back when, and in energy matters. Got to know and respect him before I ever knew about you, and then had the privilege of coming here to this honorable body to serve with you, and have that in common as well with you, your manifest interest in education, an area where I care so very much about, education. And you, with your dedication, and you mentioned it just a while ago, to the master plan of higher education. You and I both have been able to play a major role in that master plan. And that is a true and gracious and great legacy, Carol. And I know you're going to continue to contribute greatly to those areas that you care about. Surely education will continue to be a great part of your legacy. Senator Huff, our leader, makes me awfully proud, Senator Huff, to be on that wall in the Republican leader's office. Quite a few pictures ahead of yours, but what an honor to be having served in that capacity and to have been here at a time when you were the leader. Coming to the Senate, we actually got to spend a little time in the Assembly, but you came over here and quickly ascended to the leadership role. And Bob, you've done a fine job in that role. I know how tough it is. I thank you for that job. But you also learned when you assumed the role as Senate Republican leader that it wasn't such a partisan role either. There's a very big role in this honorable body to work across the aisle, and you did that well. You did that well with Senator Steinberg. You did that well with Senator De Leon. And now you're going to go on to greater and new challenges ahead too, Bob. I'm honored to consider myself your friend and forever your colleague. And we also kind of share an agricultural heritage as well. That's special. Senator Walk, we come from the county of Yolo. I lived there for a long time. Watched you rise up in local politics. I put the words enduring, endearing Davisite. And you have risen in leadership, Lois, and you've authored many landmark bills, certainly in the environmental area, and you've been able to balance that by being a friend of agriculture while being a strong environmentalist. We've shared a common interest in preserving agricultural land and protecting the Williamson Act and fighting for the subventions for the counties to continue their incentive to stay in the Williamson Act. And I'm going to give you the greatest compliment I could ever give, Lois, and I kind of teased you with that a little earlier today. When I came here, the legendary Roseanne Vuich had only been in this institution 4 years. The Rose Room here acknowledges Rose Vuich, and she has her picture and portrait in 4202, or 4203. Not 4203, 2040, isn't it? Yeah, 2040. That I knew that lady. You are of the same ilk as Roseanne Vuich. Now, to me, that's a very, very high compliment, because she was such a great lady, such a great credit to the state Senate, as a pioneer, as a leader. And Lois, you are right up there in my esteem with Roseanne Vuitch. And let me close with talking about our great friend who cannot share this evening with us. But I have a feeling that she is looking down upon us from what she called to me the other side. As we text back and forth, and towards the end, she'd say, "See you from the other side." Sharon Runner sat here and enjoyed time in this body. She and that loving husband of hers, George, a unique power couple indeed. She, too, was a credit to this honorable body, and I look over at that seat and feel my heartstrings pull for her. She nobly held in here as long as she could with us, but she made a great track record of her own. Pioneered major statewide legislation called Jessica's Law. Her caring heart trying to ensure that young children, young Jessicas, would not have to face what that Jessica did. That came from the heart. That was not a matter of political expedience to build a reputation, to ensure her election. Sharon Runner believed that. She and George started a Christian school that's now, I understand, one of the largest down in the desert area. She believed in education in her own way, Christian education. She was one of the founders of something called the California Women's Leadership, and that was a group that would get women involved in and elected to office, a bipartisan group. Though she was Republican, she cared about elevating women, another true mark of Sharon Runner. She and George had a son and a daughter, and they had 4 grandchildren. Whatever you talk to either one of them, they were always want to talk about their children. They always kept those perspectives to the fore. Their faith and their family. I think of them, and I think of family. And this night, as we wind down, as we acknowledge all of you who will live on with your own legacies yet to be added to, we also must think of Sharon, whose legacy will live on with us in our memories and in our hearts. Congratulations, all of you fine senators. So glad that you've been able to be here with us. God love you.